Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 2021 ChiTeen Lit Fest. If you're watching this, you've made the stellar decision to tune into CTLF headliner Kara Jackson's poetry reading. Kara Jackson is a sophomore at Smith College who, through an interdisciplinary approach, attempts to document Black culture in a country that demands its erasure. She's released an EP entitled A Song for Every Chamber of the Heart, and her work has appeared in Poetry, Rookie Mag, Nimrod Literary Journal, and others. We are beyond honored to see what she has in store for us today. So, without further ado, here's Kara Jackson.
Fleeing. Everything I do comes down to the fact that I've been here before. In some arrangement of my atoms, I was allowed to be free. So don't ask me when freedom is coming, when a certain eye of mine has seen it. A cornea in a convoluted future recalls my freedom. When asked about the absence of freedom, the lack of it, I laugh at the word absence, which always suggests a presence that has left. But absence is the arena of death, and we call the dead free, went on to glory. What is the absence of freedom but an assumption of it? I have never longed for something which was not once mine. Even fiction is my possession, and flight is an act of fleeing as much as an act of flying. Hi y'all, my name is Kara Jackson, and I am the former National Youth Poet Laureate, and I once served as the Youth Poet Laureate of Chicago a little while ago. And I'm super happy to be performing for you all today as one of your headliners along with Rick Wilson. This is such a big honor. I grew up going to the ChiTeen Lit Fest, so this is really cool. I'm gonna be reading some, and I thought I would do a couple songs too. That first poem was called Fleeing. And next I'm going to read some poems from my chapbook, Bloodstone Cowboy. Feels so weird performing poetry without a real audience. I feel like I'm performing for ghosts. 1. My name was supposed to be stuffed in a mouth, a tobacco so thick the letters smell. My name is a white woman waiting for a rescue, some Cadillac for her to stretch out on. I have been given a pricey cigarette name that sounds good over phone calls, a bright sneaker name. People have tried to call me someone wrong. They have called the wrong person in me. Let a car engine sit in the oil of my wrong name. Kara is a vehicle running through me, a bad toss of my name, a tangerine rightfully orange. This strange citrus I answer to, because my right name is too short to argue over. 4 letters not worth making food of. What is this fire we are counting on? When did tobacco not do the trick of weaving something blacker than our own mouths? 2. Where is my joke name? Every country girl's right to be called something silly. Monica called Jerry, Deborah called Mickey, Carrie called Dit. Our blood is a punchline we defend. I want to be a joke too. I want my name to never stop knocking, to ask who's there and stick its tongue out. Okay, this next poem is a poem that I wrote after I had consumed a lot of cookies. And I wrote this book a long time ago, so I think in general I was trying to think about and explore and unlearn a lot of things about myself and my body, and kind of unlearn the really unhealthy and problematic, and quite frankly anti-Black things that I was being indoctrinated by, through the various things that try to indoctrinate teenage people. So this is a poem I wrote to embrace new ways of thinking about my body and thinking about myself. This is a poem called Anthem from My Belly After Eating Too Much. I look in the mirror and all the chips I've eaten this month have accumulated like schoolwork at the bottom of my tummy. My belly, a country I'm trying to love. My mouth is a lover devoted to you. My belly, the birds will string a song together with wind for you and your army of solids, militia of grease. Americans love excess, but we also love jeans and refuse to make excess comfortable in them. I step into a fashionable prison, my middle managed and fastened into suffering. My gracious gut, dutiful dome, I will wear a house for you that you can live in. Promise walls that embrace your growing flesh and watch you reach towards everything possible. Okay, more poems. How's everyone doing today? I hope the answer is good, even though I will not hear your answers, but hope that this is a day of good energy for everyone. This next poem I'm going to read is a poem called Blood is Not a Woman's Currency. I face Mother Nature like rent, dweller of my routine faucet. We get along like languages that are similar. Sometimes I can find something in my blood that's recognizable. Sometimes I find myself in that timely pond, but that doesn't make me a woman. When asked of my kind, I wouldn't show my blood. My hands, maybe, the way my fingers find homes in my temples, or the uncertainty of my teeth. Everyone bleeds, but not everyone can exchange that blood for whole countries. It's true, blood is a currency for someone with too much power. Blood, a dollar in the right hands. This next poem I wrote thinking about climate change. I'm gonna take a quick water break. I wrote this about climate change. I was thinking about the kind of impeding doom that's also simultaneously ignored and I think accepted in a lot of ways by a lot of people. And I was also thinking about my grandparents, who are a testament to a really, like, a lot of years lived, and a lot of love lived for a long time, and I feel like they're the only example I've really had of long-lasting love. And so I was thinking about that in the context being situated in the end of the world. So this is a poem called The World is About to End and My Grandparents Are in Love. Still, living like they orbit one another. My grandfather, the planet, and grandma, his moon, assigned by some gravitational pull. They have loved long enough for a working man to retire. Grandma says she's not tired. She wears her husband like a coat that survives every season. Talks about him, the way my parents talk about vinyl, the subject salvaged by the tent of their tongues. Grandma returns to her love like a hymn, marks it with a color. When the world ends, will it suck the earth of all its love? Will I go, taking somebody's hand, my skin becoming their skin? The digital age is taking away our winters, and I'm afraid the sun is my soulmate. That waste waits for a wet kiss. Carbon calls me pretty, and I think death is a good first date. I hope when the world ends, it leaves them be, spares Grandpa and his game, Grandma spinning corn into weight, the two of them reeling into Western theme songs, the TV louder than whatever's coming. That's that poem. I'm gonna read maybe a couple more. Yeah, maybe a couple more poems. This next poem I wrote about living in the suburbs, growing up in the suburbs, which is such a funny subject. But yeah, I was just thinking about certain things and anti-Blackness that is written in the landscape. Yeah, so this is a poem called Lost and Found. I thought I left my black in a safe place. I thought my black pulled on me an umbilical cord. Thought my black was cut for safekeeping. I thought my black was floating in a jar, or maybe my black is a button I'm supposed to rush to in case of emergency. I take my black off of my shoulders and hang it up. My father only mentions his black if he's drunk. My black is something we claim on our taxes, the very high ones. My friends, they come to visit and ask me how I've gotten on without it. Ask, do I miss my black like a childhood pet? I tell them, it's around here somewhere. Dust assigned to some crevice, sock in the lost and found. I ask my neighbors if they've seen my black, and they call me a nigger. How did they find it so quickly? Like a bird heard and recognized. Obviously I'm being ironic. I feel like sometimes I have to say that, like sometimes people think that I'm funny for that poem, and sometimes they're like, I'm so sorry for you, but I'm chilling. So my black is very easily located. I'm gonna read one more poem before I maybe sing a couple songs, if that's okay. This is a poem I wrote. I was always somebody who was like being told that I was too quiet in class, and like, I don't know, I used to not interact with adults when I was like a little kid. And my parents were really worried about it because I kind of just looked rude. But I just really never had a lot to say, and then I became a performer for my career, which is interesting. But yeah, I wrote this poem not to like make myself feel bad about being silent all the time, but to rather weaponize that silence and to encourage other silent people to find something in their silence that's worth and it's valuable, because I think too often people think that they forget that silence is a language and it's something that should be celebrated, and being silent sometimes can also be a testament to how intentional you are, to how scrutinizing you are. So if you're a kid who's being, haggled to speak up more in class, definitely maybe try if that's something you want to do, but don't be discouraged by your quiet. That's my advice, I guess. Maybe unsolicited. Okay. This is tribute for when I'm quiet. Quiet is a mouth I screw onto my mouth. Quiet, a twin spinning my evil. Quiet, a snake I hold without flinching. I treat my quiet like a pocket knife. Quiet, a blade I sharpen and consider. Ready my quiet for any jaw. Quiet, a suspect I bring into questioning. Quiet, a fire I use for cooking. Quiet, this country I defend. Quiet, a law that I have written. Quiet, so I am told by every man who will surely kill me. Quiet, prayer in the mouth of all my victims. I am so quiet, mice make a simile out of me. Okay, time for songs. Gonna get my guitar out. This is so great. I haven't gotten to read poems in a little while. Been doing mostly music gigs, so thank you again, ChiTeen Lit Fest, for having me. I'm gonna sing a couple songs. I'm gonna do a newer one and an older one. I'm gonna start with my older one, maybe. Oh, maybe I'll start with my newer one. This is a song called Brain. The rolling credits in my mind make me so aware of time. I have so many hours to waste. Calling your brain down from space. Sleep isn't cheap, and your love is no currency. You've gotta tell me you're ready, so I can sleep already. If your fear is what comes first, you'll run from love you deserve. I've got so much fear inside. You'll give me yours and I'll give you mine. Sleep isn't cheap, and your love is no currency. You've got tell me you're ready. So I can dream already. So that was Brain. And my last song is a song from my EP that I released a couple years ago, called A Song for Every Chamber of the Heart. This is a song called Ray. Ray, I'm not ashamed I couldn't stay. Your icy necklace bothered me. You see, Ray, you taught me infidelity. Then white girls couldn't bother me, couldn't tie me. You shrink without your back, think they have your back. You say your money's fine, I can tell you're lying. Ray, got a tattoo of a stranger's name, and got a homeboy said he did the same thing. Got no shame. You think I'll text you back, cut your phone some slack. It's buzzing all the time, mama's on your line. Ray, are you okay? Ray, are you okay? Thank you all so much for watching today. Thank you, ChiTeen Lit Fest, for having me. Thanks, shout out Rick Wilson for being the other headliner. And yeah, I hope everyone has a beautiful rest of their day, and is enjoying the festival. I'm Kara Jackson, and I'm signing out.